Hey, well, so there were some questions that were asked on the ActiveMelody forum, and there's a thread that's up there, and there's about 10 or 15 questions that people had for me. And I thought that was kind of cool. I've never done a Q&A like this. We can do more of these if they're helpful, but I was going to type out an answer, and I thought, you know what, I'll just turn on the camera, and I can just talk off the top of my head, and I think this will probably be more meaningful anyway. Be easier for me, that's for sure. So I have my phone here, I have a list of questions, and I'll try and be as brief as I can with these. So the first question is, what does Bryan's daily/weekly schedule look like, and does he miss his old job at all? Well, no, I do not miss my old job. I hated working. No, wait, let me rephrase that. I don't hate working. I love working. I have a very blue-collar, you know, roll-up-your-sleeves kind of attitude when it comes to work, but I like working for myself. When I worked, and I've had a lot of jobs for someone else, I always thought that I was helping someone else's dreams come true in the end. I was just the hired hand, and the end goal is somebody else does really well and celebrates, and I don't get to be part of that. And so that always bothered me, so I always wanted to have my own thing. So I don't miss it. My daily schedule, well, you know, I don't follow a real strict daily schedule. I do follow a strict weekly schedule. Every Tuesday I have to have a micro lesson now, and every Friday I have the in-depth lesson. And the preparation, another question in here was about, you know, what does that preparation part look like? You know, I have to write a song. It's not a song, it's a little composition to try and that's to teach what you're going to learn. So you have something to play at the end of it. That's one missing thing I've noticed with a lot of other instructional videos. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I've noticed that a lot of people, they do a really awesome job, and you learn something, they'll teach you a lick or something, but then you don't have any context to put it in and to start practicing it. So I write these compositions, and that way I own all the copyrights on them as well. And I do everything with a keyboard, so there is no actual bass guitar when you hear that in the jam track. That's just me on keyboard. I'm doing all the piano, organ, and stuff on the keyboard. There's a drummer which is built into the software, so I don't play drums. So it's keyboard and guitar, and I record everything on the laptop, so it's a portable little studio. I can take it with me wherever I need to go. But it takes about half hour, I would say, to come up with the idea on average. You know, I kind of noodle around. I'm a professional noodler. I can sit down, you can give me a guitar right now and I can noodle and I'll have something in a few minutes if I have to. To what does Bryan attribute his love/ability for teaching, and does he have a background in teaching? I do not have a background in teaching. I don't have a background in anything, really, a formal background. I mean, I've done a lot of things. I have a background as a graphic designer. I've been in marketing and some other things. But I don't have a background in teaching. I never finished college, for example, so I'm not into all that. But I love teaching, though, and I attribute it, I guess, to YouTube. I mean, YouTube has been huge for me and giving me this format to, it gives everybody, anyone can do this. Anybody that has a smartphone and a camera can now be a teacher. That can be good and bad. But the good thing is, if you're bad, I think it kind of, the problem ends up solving itself. You know, if you're good, you get thumbs up, you get subscriptions, and then you end up doing well in the results and so forth. But anyway, yeah, I would say YouTube. I've never taught one-on-one. I've never sat down, you know, with another person when it comes to music and taught guitar. I don't know that I would be as patient. I always get credit for being patient, and I think I can be very patient in this format. I can take my time, I can edit, and then I can hit the send button and be done with it, and it goes out, and then you can watch it and pause it and rewind it, and I don't have to deal with that. So I don't know that I'd be as patient one-on-one. I might be, but I do enjoy teaching not just music. I have 2 boys, and I'll help them with their homework sometimes, and I love watching somebody connect the dots. You know, where there's a breakdown and not understanding a concept. I'm fascinated with trying to get under the hood and figure out where it is that it breaks down and try and connect that. So I love that part of teaching. But that's something I didn't know I was good at or was able to do until YouTube, until I started getting comments. I'm still insecure about it. Even after all these years, I still, if it's not for the comments and all the positive feedback, I would my own self-doubt. This is just how I'm wired. I would probably, I don't know, I might even stop doing it. But so always know that I appreciate all the comments that you guys leave, good and bad. It helps me pivot and go the right direction. One thing I'd like to know is what Bryan's favorite live performance was. I mean, as a spectator, but would also be interesting to know what was his favorite as a participant. Well, as a spectator, I've been to a lot of shows. Gosh, I mean, one that stands out is I saw Ray Charles in Nashville at the Starwood Amphitheater. They used to have an outdoor thing. It's gone now, but that one stood out. I was probably 20, you know. I was like pretty young to be there. I went with a good friend, and it just was an awesome show. So that one was huge. Los Lobos is always a great band to see live. The Neville Brothers was a surprise, and actually my wife had the same experience, which is interesting because we saw them. This was before we were even together, but I saw them at a blues fest in Nashville, and was not expecting much. I didn't know much about the Neville Brothers. I knew Aaron Neville, but they had this very infectious groove thing that happened, and the music it started off okay, you know, everyone's kind of talking, and it's kind of background music, but it went from being background music to being, you know, everyone was like really sucked in a short amount of time, and I haven't experienced that a lot, so I thought that was pretty cool. Tedeschi Trucks band is killer. Eric Clapton, of course, I've seen him many times. I saw him in New York City at that Live in New York Madison Square Garden show. They made a DVD of that, and that was an awesome show. Sheryl Crow, Bob Dylan. Anyway, as far as being a participant, I don't play in a lot of bands. I mean, I like just kind of jamming around town. I have some friends that I'll go play with here and there. I like to sit in with people, but I like making music on the fly. I'm really bad when it comes to a scripted type thing where we're all going to come in now and we're all going to stop here. I've done some things where you play with a click track in your ear, and I'm always terrible at that. That's just not... Some people are good at that, and they need that structure. I'm the opposite. I need no structure. I want to feel it and let it all happen organically. So whatever kind of jam scenario, I'm in. So that's my favorite stuff. If I could ask him a question, I would ask him about his next goal in terms of playing skills. For example, is he trying to play faster? He keeps saying that he's not a fast player. Yeah, I am trying to play faster, actually, and that's something I just started maybe, I don't know, a month ago. So I hadn't really concentrated on that, but then I was watching Doc Watson, a video of Doc Watson on YouTube, and I was just like, man, I'm 43 years old. I've got to figure this out. If I'm ever gonna be able to do that, the cross picking, flat picking stuff, I've got to start working on it. So I'm doing that now. But that's one style I'm working on. As far as this question goes on to ask about other instruments, I play the banjo, I play the mandolin. In fact, I have a banjo right here. So that kind of thing, right? It's all it's an old mountain style of playing, and it's the way that the banjo was originally played. But I'm fascinated with that, and I don't know. It kind of, some of the finger style stuff that I've done on guitar translates and works better. I've tried the Scruggs style thing where you've got the 3 fingers, and I can do it a little bit, but it's tough. I'll be honest. If you've ever tried playing banjo and played in that style, it can be tough. I'd like to know if you ever considered producing a CD. Why or why not? I have considered recording a CD or an album or record or whatever you want to call it these days. And I have parts of songs, and I actually have songs that are scattered around, but I've just never kind of compiled it. And if I were to do that now, I would start all over anyway. So eventually I will do that. It's something I want to do. I've thought about doing a Christmas album, like an all-instrumental thing. I thought that would be kind of cool. But if I do create an album, it'll be instrumental. When you get into vocals, you have to deal with lyrics, then you have to deal with vocals. I'm not much of a singer. I can sing, but I'm not a strong singer. I'm a great backup singer, but I just don't feel comfortable with singing. So So whatever I end up doing would be an instrumental thing. But at some point I'll do it. Okay, I'd like to know how he got started in music. Was it with guitar or some other instrument? And if another instrument, how that influenced his learning curve when he picked up the guitar. That's a good question. I started off on piano when I was probably 5. We had an upright piano at home, and I would kind of sit around, one finger and pick out melodies and things. And then I took a piano lesson, some piano lessons from somebody locally in Cookeville, Tennessee, and she showed me how to play chords, all your major chords and all your minor chords. And that was the big thing for me. Once I realized chords and how to make a chord, how to make a major, how to make a minor, I was able to start to play more advanced sounding music on the piano. I'm not an advanced piano player at all, but it was more advanced than just one finger at a time kind of stuff. So so that's what started me. And then in middle school I got into the French horn. I played that in 7th and 8th grade band. So with that I learned to read music and learned to understand cadence, and we all start at the same time and we all end at the same time playing harmonies with people and stuff. But the French horn just wasn't cool, and so I kind of put that away. I did that for a couple of years, and then I didn't really play anything until I was probably 14 or 15, and I got into guitar. And the guitar was it still is the perfect instrument, because it can be as big and as loud as you want it to be. It can be as soft and quiet. It can be portable, or it is portable. And it's every style of music, from heavy metal to jazz to classical. It's all can be done with the same 6 strings. I think that's fascinating. I can't say that about any other instrument, really. Maybe keyboard you could argue, but it's still not as versatile. It's not as portable as a guitar. Let's see, what was the first guitar he owned? It was and I've still got it actually. It's downstairs. It's a black acoustic. It's called a Crestline. That was the brand, and I've never seen nor heard of one since. My parents got it at a local guitar store that's out of business now in Cookeville, and it was, it was just an old beater guitar. I still keep it though. What was the brainchild of ActiveMelody, and how many members are there? Well, the members question is kind of a private one, just because you start getting into revenues when you can start doing the math on how many members. I'll say there are thousands. Kind of leave it at that. It's doing far beyond what I would have ever guessed. It's blown away my expectations. And even as big as it is, as big as it's gotten, I'm still incredibly insecure. So that never goes away. I'm just mentioning that as for those of you that struggle with that. It's just how some of us are wired. But the brainchild of it was, I tried a few things. Some of them were flops, and but I was always fascinated, and you can look back at a lot of projects I've done. Always fascinated with online community, building a place where people of a similar interest, a niche, can gather and they can share ideas and interact with each other. That has always fascinated with me. So I wanted to take that concept with the teaching concept, with the skills I had. I was a graphic designer, so I could kind of do layout. I also built the first version of the site. Now I have a developer that helps with that stuff. But just sort of kind of came together. I started looking at all the things I like to do. Well, I like to play guitar, I like graphic design, I like web development, I like online marketing, I like social media. How can I pull all this stuff together? And that's where ActiveMelody came from. Let's see, does Bryan ever get moments where he thinks, why did I say I would do a new lesson every week? Sometimes, but not often. I really enjoy doing this. This is something that I honestly believe I was born to do. It sounds kind of cocky, but it's true. I think this is what I was made to do, is to do instructional material online, help people. I don't know that it'll always be guitar. In fact, I've got some other ideas that I'm kicking around, but the guitar thing will continue for sure. I'm not going to stop that. But you know, the only times I would not want to do it is like sometimes around Christmas or around a birthday, or maybe I'm feeling sick, or you're on vacation or something. That's when it gets difficult. You think that's when I would ask the question, oh, why did I say I would do? But those times are rare, and so the rest of the time I look forward to it. It's kind of like it recharges me every week, because you put these things out, and sometimes the ones I really like, I think, man, this is going to resonate, and it doesn't. And sometimes the ones you just schlock together and you throw it up, they do really well. People leave a lot of comments and really enjoy it. So anyway, I think I answered everything. I hope I did. If I missed one, you can feel free to respond to the, I'm going to post this in the forum, so you can respond and I'll try and get back to you. But I hope that's been helpful. This ended up being much longer than I wanted it to, but this has been fun. We can do more of this kind of stuff. In fact, I want to get into the live thing. I don't know if any of you are interested in that, but I'll have to try that. All right, folks, it's been fun.